Okay, my friends. Whoa, where do I even start? I'm telling you right now, if you have never been a part of our thing before, if you are not a part of our exercise, um, if this is something that you have not yourself been included in, I am telling you that you are in for a treat. And I have more things to tell you than you could ever imagine. Okay? More to tell you than you, my friends, could ever possibly imagine. I have so much to tell you about what we are, where we are going with this. Your mind is about to explode. I'm telling you, believe me when I say this, believe me when I tell you this. You're going to see things that are going to make you crazy. You're going to be constantly doing this. Now, lest you think this is some kind of profane gesture, this is always yes and no. Yes, no is my answer. Yes, no. Yes and no. Part of it, yeah, maybe yes and no. This drives people berserk. Okay. Today's change topic is Hollywood and Washington exposed. The Epstein files were just the beginning, but it was also one of the stupidest efforts, but it's important, but it was dumb. And it was great in some respects. I think one of the biggest, both concomitantly smart and stupid things, is to turn these files over to influencers. But then, well, more whatever. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. I'm putting this into perspective here. I'm trying to give you an idea of what we're looking at here, which is exceedingly critical, and that is that there are some things which you're going to agree with, some things that you're not. Do not feel like you must be a rubber stamp for everything that this administration does. It's that simple. You really shouldn't do that. You shouldn't have to do that. Give you an example. One of the biggest mistakes that's going to bite this administration on the ass are the Tate brothers. That is the dumbest. Get away from them. Nobody's asking me my opinion. Somebody somewhere, if I had to guess, just kind of like Tucker, a lot of guys think they're cool. I see them and I'm saying, do you know anything about these folks? Get away from them. Do not be a Mr. President. Believe me, you're going to say, why didn't somebody check this out? I'll bet you anything Don Jr. thought they were cool, the same way Tucker thought they were cool, the way they're. All right. I said my piece and that's it. Nobody's listening to me. So I move on. Remember, I'm telling you this. Remember, I'm telling you this. I know what I'm talking about. Stay away from them. I told people regarding Matt Gaetz. I said, remember what I'm telling you about Matt Gaetz. Remember, I don't want to play this I told you so, but I told you so. Because nobody listens to me because they're whatever. They're into this cool thing that they're into they think this is like a fan club. It's not a fan club. It's about the rest of the world. So before we begin, let me make sure that you are subscribed to Lionel Nation here on YouTube. Number one, make sure you like the video. It's very important. And understand something, that while everything is going great and groovy and wonderful, there are people right now who are absolutely suffering monumentally when it comes to financial straits and being in extremis. And that's why it's important that we stop and listen to this word from our sponsor. Listen to me. Are you drowning in debt? You're not alone. New reports show the average person is buried under $8,674 in credit card debt, with total consumer debt soaring to a staggering $104,215, including mortgages, auto loans, student loans, and credit cards. It's a financial crisis, and without a real solution, many will keep spiraling deeper. That's why I want to introduce you to a powerful secret weapon that has helped so many regain control. They specialize in consolidating all your debts into one manageable monthly payment and even negotiate a settlement so that you can pay less than you actually owe. Think about this. They've already settled over $275 million in debt. Think about that. Helping people break free in an average of just 28 months. I've personally recommended their services to friends and clients who needed a way out, and now I'm bringing it straight to you, my loyal Lionel Nation family. So don't wait. Book a free consultation today, right now, at NoDebtWithLionel.com. That's NoDebtWithLionel.com. The link is right under the title here. It's time to take back control of your finances. Act now. Get out of debt and start living the life you deserve. This morning I did a piece on Gene Hackman, whose death bothers me as much as a complete stranger's death would bother me, but just in terms of the way it's being handled. So I did a video dealing with 10 questions that I have based upon my expertise as a former prosecutor and forensics genius, plus a lot of common sense that I have. And I want you to be aware of it. It's called basically some very, very critical, in fact, it's called right here. It's called the, prosecutor reveals, how do I see this? Prosecutor reveals 10 shocking reasons Gene Hackman's death looks and is suspicious. So you'll get a kick out of that one. Here, let me give you this one right now. Because I go through it, because we can, it's a fascinating case. There's a lot to it. And I'm always hitting the brakes as I explain this to people. Years ago, I heard an analogy, which I'll never forget, and I loved it. And it was somebody describing an EEG. And he said, it's like standing outside how do I say this? It's like standing outside a stadium, hearing the crowd and trying to guess the score. And I loved it. And that's kind of what it is. Sometimes you sit back and we're not really sure exactly how things work, how things are. But this is the link for that. Please, if you could, check this out at your leisure. This is I go through about 10 reasons that you should consider them to take them under advisement. There's so much nuance here. But the thing which is the most important, which I still feel that either I'm not getting my point across or nobody's listening to me. Nobody's listening. I think sometimes people like to just say the whole thing. I was watching for 15 seconds of a Piers Morgan argument about Palestine. And I just had to say, this has nothing to do with fact finding. This is about, I know what it is. It's a work. It's wrestling. I got it. I understand it. I got it completely. And that's the way things are. Sometimes things are just meant to get people. It's clickbait, and I dig it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And, what are you going to do? And fine, so be it. So be it. That's the way it goes. All right, fair enough. But I think they're missing the point. And I think I like very much sometimes to eat slowly. I enjoy sometimes taking my time to investigate and to break apart issues. Sometimes when you have most of us don't eat like this, but when you really have time to eat and you're with somebody one of the most fun things you can do is to try to describe what it is that you're reading. Describe it. And when you do it, you really appreciate it more because you're realizing it's very complex. Back of the mouth, the taste afterwards, your first immediate sensation. Well, that's what these stories are. There's a story, and there's so much to this. Here is a story, but you're in a room, and the first thing you have to do is deal with the people who are screaming about the story. You haven't even addressed it yet, but you're turning them and you're telling them, why are you screaming? Why are you yelling? Why are you going through all this? Why are you? Okay, you got it? Okay, good. And then later on, you ask the questions, well, let's talk about the case here. Let's talk about what President Trump is doing regarding Epstein. Does it make sense? Does it make sense politically? What are they trying to show? What are the real issues? Who's saying what? And I don't know. I think what I'm hearing is a bunch of people thinking that somehow, for some particular reason, they're going to hear some really sordid story and files of all this stuff. And it's like, what are you even talking about? That's not what's happening. You're not going to get this. What do you think this is? And I've been saying this. And again, sometimes and I'm used to it because nobody listens to me and I'm used to it. And, and I think at this stage, I should be kind of used to it, but I'm not. Because I don't understand why people aren't listening to me. And I don't understand why what I'm saying is so difficult, but I'll try my best. This is a limited hangout, number one. This, and it's not done on purpose. I don't believe for a moment that Pam Bondi is doing anything to obfuscate the truth or to occlude the truth or interrupt the truth. Nothing. Absolutely not. I don't think Hash Patel is. I have no reason to believe. I mean, he could be, but there's no reason to believe that. I'm also thinking that I wish I could have these moments with President Trump, which nobody would ever allow me because I would tell him things that I would think, and he may not necessarily like what I have to say all the time. But he needs it, and he needs me. He needs me. And the first thing I would say is, we appreciate, sir, how you are doing everything in your power to come out of the chute. But remember, you're promising people a lot. And lest I remind you, sir, you have an enemy base that is there to destroy you. And everything they can do, sir, to hurt you, they will do it, sir. Everything. They will do everything in their power to hurt you, sir. They will do everything. And when I tell you that, you must understand that if you go into this breakneck speed of doing all this stuff at 100 days of this and this and that and this, and when you have Pamela Joe Bondi, who I think is one of the most reputable and decent and competent people you will ever meet. This is somebody who was a friend, so I'm biased. I will just say that to you. But she's got to understand something. This is in Kansas. This is the belly of the beast. And these are the nastiest people you will ever meet. So when you say you've got on your desk something, they're going to jump on it and they're going to say, okay, we're going to hold you to it. You got that? We have got you. And we're going to hold you to it, sir. Or Pamela Joe. We're going to hold you to it. So get ready. Get ready. And that's something which I think we have to really get to the bottom of right now. That's something which we really need to speak about. And that's something which I don't think anybody is able to address at this particular point. And it's something that I want to talk to you about, because we can't make mistakes. Do you know what would happen if all of a sudden, listen to me very carefully, and I know the president's thought about this, but I want you to think about this. Do you know what would happen if all of a sudden Elon Musk took off, if he just went the other way? Do you know what would happen? It would come to it would be one of the most catastrophic ends and interruptions that you could possibly imagine. So understand that. Understand that, sir. Understand that. We have a new member, Source. Thank you so much for that. And Karen Peterson says, too much liability to expose anything major at this time for this new administration. Indeed. But let's go through a few things here, and let me see if I can say this again. And I went through it later on. For those of you who are members, I have a brand new drop at about 11 o'clock or so, where I review this. But I want you to understand what I'm trying to do. I am here absolutely, positively, 100% in favor of the president. I'm here to facilitate the president. He is I am so happy about what this man is doing. I can't put into words how thrilled I am. Okay? I cannot put it into words. So I am not somebody who is one of these folks who doesn't really love the president. Oh, no. But I want to understand something, which is the most important, and I'm going to try this again. I think it's 11 o'clock. By the way, those of you who are members, you will usually get the videos ahead of time so that before you are made aware of them, you are able to luxuriate yourself and to become ensconced in that which other people do not have, okay? Now understand something. Why am I better? I'll tell you why I'm better than other people. First, I don't care what anybody thinks. I know that's important, and you think a lot of people feel like that, but they really don't. They really, honest to God, don't understand what that means, okay? I don't care what people think. I like a lot of people. I listen to them. I appreciate very much what they're saying. I really do. I mean, I really do. And I like what they're doing. And I like the fact that they're doing so much great stuff. But I've got to tell you that many times they don't know what they're talking about. I love the fact that the president gave a number of people who are influencers the first page, the first book, of the tranche. Hey, look at this. The Epstein files. Okay. DC Drano, great guy. Probiotic, great. Whoever they were. What are they going to do with it? Read it. What are you going to see? Nothing. Nothing. What are you going to read? Logs? So you've got to be careful. Make sure you don't look like a fool or a dupe. And make sure you don't look to your fans like you're being used. Because the first thing I'm going to do is I would say, what am I doing here? Who are these people? No. Okay, yeah, whatever. I mean, let's face it, it's good for numbers and things like that. But you always got to make sure you maintain who you are. You got to maintain your, dare I say, your independence, if you will. Now, first of all, let me see if I can bring this to your attention. The Epstein files and the reveal was a total bust. The real secrets, the real important stuff was already destroyed so long ago, it's not even funny. It was nothing. It amounts to nothing. Nothing. And I told you this. And I keep saying that I told you this. I told you this because whatever happened, it's done. And if you think there's some box of files, if you think that somehow all of the thumb drives and the hard drives are there, you're out of your mind. Do you hear what I'm telling you? You hear what I'm saying? Stop it. There's nothing there. When the events happened, they were immediately taken, used, cataloged by whatever the agency is, whatever the country is, whatever the intel agencies are, whoever's cooperating. I mean, if we do not have a cooperation between American intel and Israeli intel, I will be as shocked, or could be exclusive. I don't think Israeli intel on its own would veer into our turf and not give a kind of a contributory cooperative type of thing. But if you think that, I never forget, Don, is it Dan or Don Bongino? Don. And by the way, he's good. Remember, just so that you know, there are people that I know, I like their energy. Let's see what they do. Kash Patel, let's see what they do. Don Bongino, let's see what they do. That whole letter thing between Pam Bondi and Kash, that was did you even see the letter? It looked like somebody, there was no address. It was, anyway, no big deal. I'm just saying, that's interesting. So Don was sitting there and he said, you're not going to believe this. He was on the Tim Pool show, which is fun, very, very popular. Much ado about nothing, but that's okay. It's a lot of fast talk. And I haven't seen it that much, but what I've seen, it's the illusion of incredibly, this is very important. Because I'm going to talk very fast. I'm going to talk very fast right now. I'm going to make a destiny. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about that. And you say, ooh, it's nothing. Read the transcript and you're saying, I'm not hearing anything this is nothing. You can always tell when you read the transcript, when you think, oh my God. But the person who's saying it might be the most, Thomas Paine, the fiery common sense, was one of the most boring people you ever heard in your life. So you got to understand, there's a wonderful JFK kind of a site that's expertise about everything. And the lady who made the orthotics for Lee Harvey Oswald, landlady, it's like, what are we talking about? And if you read it, you go, what's this boring as hell? But the person who says it has such a ferocity. It sounds like it's important. You got to ask yourself, what are we really learning here? So anyway, Don Bongino, who's the number 2 guy at the FBI, could not say the name Israel. He kept saying, well, there's a Middle Eastern country. He's like, oh my God. All right. That's who I want. And my, intel. Okay. Stop pretending that there's something bad. All right, said enough about that. Now, the real secrets were destroyed. This is called, and I'm going to say this again, my friends, a limited hangout. And you have been tricked. Not by anybody in particular. Not that Pam Bondi tricked you. I don't believe that for a moment. But you have been led to believe that these stories, that these files, these whatever, mean something. America was promised the bombshell of the century, a full expose of Jeffrey Epstein's clients, associates, and secret connections to the most powerful elites on the earth. But what did we actually get? Nothing. Nothing. A pile of meaningless airplane logs and names that had already been leaked for years, and zero real revelations about the truth that actually matters. Ethel Kennedy was on the Rafe Fiennes, Mick Jagger. Do you know? They say, well, who was on the list? What list? Here's the passenger manifest. What do you think this was? I don't think anybody knows anything. I don't think they know anything about him. I swear to God. I don't think so. This wasn't a true document dump. It was a limited hangout. Let's do this again, class. Come on in. Let Uncle Lenny respond and remind you what a limited hangout is, okay? It's the oldest trick in the cover-up book, in the intel. For those who need a refresher, a limited hangout is a classic intel community tactic, so to speak, where a government or an agency or a secret cabal or a consortium or a conspiracy, whatever it is, releases a small, controlled amount of information. Info, disinfo, whatever you want to call it. It's an ort. It's an hors d'oeuvre. It's an amuse-bouche. It's a little speck, a little morsel, a tidbit, kind of a appetizer. It's just enough to make it look like there's transparency while keeping the real dirt hidden forever. And that's what this is. Instead of admitting the full truth, what they do is they strategically leak harmless or already known details to make it look like and to make people think that they're really getting the full story. Like, isn't this great? And that's what people, and I keep reading, I say, what do you think it says? Do we know about the Black Book? Scalene Matt, who has the Black Book? Who has the book? You got the Black Book? You got the Black Book? Well, you know about the Black Book? What's with the Black Book? No, who was on the Black? I'll give you the. For some reason, they subsumed, collaborated, or whatever. A good friend, one of the smartest men ever, Cobbs, says critical questions for AG. Was there digital evidence of identifiable subjects committing crimes recovered during the searches of JE's properties? Where is it? Loosely described, please. Are investigations underway? Cobbs, let me thank you. That's exactly right. What I would do is if there was a skiff room, Mr. Cobbs, what I would do is I would say, all right, anybody, who can I talk to? Let's close the door. Okay, give me the inventory. Inventory is whenever you have you ever received one of those they're kind of like inventory letters, but you have a letter to say your name, your voice has been picked up on an electronic conversation. If you do a wiretap, if they even do those anymore, but in the old days, if you were in a wiretap and you were and you were there, so to speak, you were just there, they had to tell you when you how do I say this? They had to tell you that your voice came upon. So anyway, so you got an inventory. Kind of, what did they say? When did they? They're not telling you what they heard, but kind of the fact that your name was picked up. Okay. So also, whenever there's a search warrant, you get an inventory of what they took. They tell you a box from the basement. I want to know, what'd you find? And they can tell you nothing. Nothing. Why? When was the search? 2000, whatever it was. All of this stuff is gone. Now, I could also imagine that they have some of the best available electronic information you can imagine. So this, whatever was culled, whatever was grabbed, whatever was picked up, was either sent to whomever on a cloud or thumb drives or hard disks. They were already given to somebody else. You don't let this. You don't let it accumulate. So that's what you're doing. What are you getting? What? Why are people interested? You were given a limited hangout. I'll give you the manifest. Oh, I'll give you the flight logs on the Lolita Express. Oh, yeah, that's great. Really? Yeah. What is that? Ethel Kennedy. Ethel Kennedy. Jesus. God. Ray Fiennes. Oh, Naomi Campbell. Oh. Bobby Kennedy and his family. We'll get to this in a moment. But the thing is, they want you to think. This is how the CIA, FBI, everybody wants you to. They want you to believe that you've got something when the truth is too explosive to be revealed. And that's exactly what happened here. So where are the real files? Where is the real evidence? Who got rid of it? That's what you want to know. So my friends, let's get real here. This is the most important. Jeffrey Epstein was, and little by little, you notice how Daily Mail now is going to paywall? Little by little, I think there was something else. Hey, maybe there's something to this. I think there's a picture of Epstein on the gurney. He's a stiff, whatever. Hey! He was gone, axed, iced, dispatched. The official story of the so-called self-harm is bullshit. 100% 18 karat bullshit. The biggest joke in American history. That's the story. That's the story. Whom did he work for? Where did he come from? All right? Because remember, he was a nobody. He was like a kind of a Chauncey Gardner. 2 guards fell asleep at the same time. The cameras happened to malfunction. Epstein broke his neck in a way that every forensic expert worth their salt said was impossible by mere suspension ligature or hanging. That's the story. Not, I'm saying it again, who was on the plane. That doesn't matter. That is a limited hangout. You see how that works? You're thinking, he's right. Why was I so excited? Because a lot of people, with all due respect, have no critical thinking skills. They don't think like a prosecutor. They don't ask, what does this have to do with anything? What does this have to do with it? People love to say, well, you know. And they'll point to some name and they'll think, well, what does that mean? I don't understand this. And the best part is, if anybody says, okay, I'm Bill Clinton, terrific, tee it up. What do you think? Well, we've got let's just say, I'm just assuming, we've got a film of Bill Clinton. He's with a muskox, and it's a compromise. It's zoophilia. It's like, great. Tee it up. Put it on trial. Go ahead. You want to authenticate this? Before we even get, you have to authenticate it. Is this a true and accurate depiction of what it is? Yeah. What is this? I don't think that's it. How do you know this is an AI? What? How do I know this is an AI? So we're going to get our forensics person going, oh, no. There's some, it's like the Zapruder film. That's not the Zapruder film. That's the film that gave Zapruder back after the FBI and the feds. But anyway, so what are you going to do? Not only that, well, I got a better one for you. We've got this young lady. Her name is Carmen Santiago. I just made that name up. And she says, oh, I'm not going to be a part of this. I resettled my case. I'm not going to bring this up. No, you have to, because you see, this is a criminal prosecution. I don't care what it is. No, you don't understand. You can be held in contempt. Hold me in contempt. I made a bundle. I'm living my life. I'm down. I don't want to. I don't even know what you're talking about. Who? Epstein? Who? I don't remember him. Look at Virginia Giuffre. They paid her off. I'm done. Remember, heard the loudest and every night. How much? How much do I get? Listen, good for her. She made money. Right. This is from the Queen. This is from so-and-so. Remember, there were all these lawsuits with David Boies was suing Dershowitz, and it was like libel, and I don't know what happened to him. He just kind of went away. It's over with. It's over. That's the thing, ladies and germs. That's the story. Cobb says Sessions was such a disappointment. Barr was worse. Barr's father was the headmaster at Dalton. Barr was the one who looked at you and said, and this is what I would ask Pamela Joe Bondi. I would say, your predecessor looked at people straight in the eye and said this was self-harm. It wasn't. You know it and I know it. It wasn't. What are you talking about? That's the issue. And remember this. How about this guy? Remember this guy? Hang on a minute. This guy. Remember him? There we go. That's right. This guy. This was his roommate. This is Tartaglione. Look at this guy. He could have taken his neck like that. This guy was on trial, whatever, for basically 4 death sentences. This is the one. Anybody know about him? No. Anybody want to talk to him about? No. Cobb says, if Cash Pam can't deliver justice, it can't be done. Well, let's give him a little leeway. But Cobbs, let me ask you something. What justice? What do you want her to do? That's the first question. What do you want her to do? I don't think she should have said anything about I've got on my desk the files. Like, don't tell these people that because they think you've got pictures or. Here's the question. This is a question nobody said. How did two guards fall asleep at the same time for the most important prisoner probably in American history? How? The cameras malfunctioned. How? Epstein's neck broke. No, it didn't. The most high-profile prisoner in the country at any time, left alone just long enough to conveniently axe himself? Come on, give me a break. That's the issue. You can give that to DC Drainer. He doesn't care about that. That's what I want to know. Who did he work for? Where did he come from? And how was it he was? Why was this murder not? How do you expect anything if we don't look? People are demanding. I want to know what happened to Gene Hackman. I want to know what happened to Epstein. Was Gene Hackman murdered? Was it the natural cause? What about Epstein? You're talking about flight logs. Did they murder him? If they did, he was done in federal custody. That means the feds did it. It's in their custody. Hello? Who gives a goddamn about Ethel Kennedy on a plane? What is the matter with us? Do we not ever... Have you ever watched Quincy or Columbo? Why was he killed? Why? The real story. Who wanted him silenced? Forget the flight logs. Forget Prince Andrew and his embarrassing scandal. The real Epstein story has nothing to do with billionaire playboys and washed up royalty. No, that's the circus act they want you to focus on in a, what's it called? A limited hangout. The real issue is Epstein's deep ties to intel networks, espionage, blackmail, honeypot, extortion. And there's foreign countries involved that keeps coming up in connection to his suicide. What is the matter with us? I'm thinking to myself, what is going on here? I say, what are we looking at? Why are we looking at this? Cobbs says we're supposed to accept their effusive lies. Well, like this. Discussing if there's real evidence, then she needs to prosecute. If not, then she needs to admit that. It's too early and it's too late. What are you going to prosecute? Just tell people, listen, there's nothing to prosecute here. The first thing she has to do is to maintain the notion of constitutional fair play. She has to make sure that she understands, that people understand flat out. And she's not going to charge somebody just because it sounds good. It doesn't work like that. It's over with. The case is over with. This country has some of the most advanced intel services in the world. And his dispatch was their cleanup job. They could not afford to let him testify or get near anything. It's obvious. Obvious. They couldn't afford to let him expose whom he really worked for. They could not afford to let the world see the true purpose of blackmail operations and intel and extortion. It's obvious. Not only that, maybe along the way, he got somebody in a dragnet they didn't intend. So how come Ghislaine? Why did they trust her? Interesting. Why didn't? If you found out one day, God forbid, that Ghislaine Maxwell couldn't take the guilt anymore and decided to pursue a course of self-harm, you'd say, well, I can understand. And they'd bring in, remember, I forgot to mention something to you, USAID. You see, that's the word we use for when everybody was paid off. When the people who said, hey, MSDNC, yeah, CNN, yeah, New York Post, New York Times, yeah, everybody, you liked our check from some weird NGO? Yeah, great. Do me a favor. We got a story, hypothetical. Ghislaine's gonna, and you're gonna run. Your story is gonna be no questions asked. Just follow our lead. She was tormented by the truth, okay, and she couldn't live it. Okay, great. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe. Still don't know about that one. Still don't know about that one. There's one thing I've learned. Americans in particular do not understand that it's okay to question things. They don't. They think they have to ask permission or something. I guess they think that they have to. Raul says, was Epstein removed from his cell before the investigation? Removed from his cell? I do not know. Cobb says, agree, not looking for instant gratification has to be real. Indeed. And Ricardo says, legally, flight manifests mean nothing, only raises eyebrows and questions. And do you believe them to be true? And with all due respect, do you think this is all that's there? Come on. Listen. Listen to me carefully about this one thing, which is very, very important. Very, very critical, very, very important. Very, 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 very important. I want you to think about this. Think about this like you never thought about anything before. But before, I want you to think about one man, one guy, our buddy, Mike Lindell. This is the guy who has fought tirelessly with President Trump. He has one of the best companies and the best stuff around, and I want you to listen to him. That's right, MyPillow.com, our friend Mike Lindell. You know, when it comes to comfort, support, and a good night's sleep, my friends, MyPillow has revolutionized the way millions of Americans rest their heads with unmatched quality, cutting-edge design, and a commitment to American-made excellence. MyPillow has become a household name. And now with MyPillow.com/Lionel, or using the promo code Lionel, you can unlock exclusive discounts and deals that bring comfort and savings right to your doorstep. That's right, my friend. Mike Lindell and the team in MyPillow aren't just selling pillows. They're on a mission to transform the sleep experience with a wide variety of products beyond their signature pillows. Whether you're looking for supportive adjustable pillows, luxurious Giza dream sheets, cozy towel, mattress toppers that cradle your body in comfort, MyPillow offers it all. And with their 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty, you can be confident that MyPillow stands behind every product they sell. Now, why MyPillow stands out? Let me tell you, unlike generic pillows you grab off a department store shelf, MyPillow is customizable and engineered to cater to different sleep styles. Whether you're a side sleeper or a back sleeper or a stomach sleeper, their patented interlocking fill technology adjusts to your specific comfort needs, keeping your neck and spine properly aligned throughout the night. No more waking up with that sore neck, no more tossing and turning, just the restful, rejuvenating, and exhilarating sleep that you deserve. And it doesn't stop at pillows. MyPillow's Giza Dream Sheets, made from the finest Egyptian cotton, offer a smooth, breathable, and luxurious feel, turning your bed into a sleep heaven. So right now, my friends, do the right thing. Go to MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. It's easy for me to say, MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel, or call 800-645-4965. Simply the best. Trust me. All right, my friends, let's go back to this again. And I want you to remember, we start back from square one. The people who are providing the narrative, the ones who are telling you what's important, I don't think they have anything. They're not deliberately doing this to be duplicitous, I should say. I think they're doing it because they don't really know any better. They don't know any better. Let me ask you something. Did you know about this guy? Do you not understand? Did you ever hear of him? I got a guy who's in the cell with Epstein, who's looking at the death penalty for killing 4 people, and all of a sudden he pleads and he's off, and it's like, what? And there were scuffles before, and we had. Now, if I were the Attorney General, I would sit down and I'm saying, okay, folks, what happens if I give this? What happens? What's everybody's concern? What are we going to do? Well, don't say anything about his Israel connections. Why? Well, because, and the CIA and MI6 or whatever. Don't do this. And how we share information. Okay, maybe we don't want to do this. Anything we don't want to give up? Any information we don't that we could compromise an ongoing mission? No. Okay. Well, I'm going to give the information out. She said, what, 250 or so? Not all of these were girls, correct? Right, honey? Not all of them were minors. There were girls who said, I'm 18 years old. And he said to them, I've got people out they had, what was it, the place near Bloomingdale? They had an apartment where they kind of kept them, Women would kill for this. Listen, I know you don't want to hear this, and I know people don't like this, but there are women who will sell their souls. Go online, go anywhere. People are, look at OnlyFans. Women take their heart, their self-respect, their most intimate. Here, pay me. Here, look, I'm bending over. I'm squatting. $3. Baby, hey, look at this. Hey, I'm playing hide the soap. Here we go. $10 right here. Sell my soul, sell my body, sell my heart, sell my idea. I'm on OnlyFans. I'm a strumpet. I'm a trollop. I'm a hooah. I'm a loathsome I'm one of a gazillion people. Here's some university. Look, I've got 9 relays. You mean to tell me, do you not understand this? Women, men would do it too if there was that much of a market for them. Women will sell their souls. They will give you, forget Kafka. They'll say, here's my soul. Take it. Hey, there's a guy named Epstein. I'm in. Let me finish. What do you do? Well, I'm studying to be a massage therapist. Solid. You don't mind giving special massages, do you? Well, no. Want to go on a shopping trip? Want to go with Ghislaine? Want to go to Louis Vuitton? I love this. Who do you think did the recruiting for Epstein? You think they drove around and the Upper East Side in a white van grabbing? No. There was a Catholic school. Was it somewhere in West Palm? They got granted some girls who were. The girls recruited. This is not some dragnet. Cobbs knows about this. Cobb says, V bad. She said, J-E and co-conspirator singular. Very bad. I don't know. Again, we're getting into that code stuff. I like things that you can write very quickly. I can read them off, and you say, oh, I know what that means, as opposed to, what does that mean? JV, is that co-conspirator or whatever it was? Do you understand what we're talking about? If I line the 200, if I said, okay, here are the girls. Here's the 200 girls. You ready? Okay, you got them? Good. Okay. Now, how many of you were minors at the time? Well, just a few. I don't know the number. 5, 10, 50? I have no idea. Do we have, forget the travel logs. Do we have a breakdown of the women that were involved, or maybe men too? I don't know if there's any men. I don't think so. But how many of them were minors? Give me that number. Forget the Ethel Kennedy or the flight log. Who the hell cares about that? Do we know? How do you know? What if I told you there were 4? Crazy. What if I told you they're all 18? They're all 18 or 19 or 20 or whatever it was, but they were all legal. Every one of them. And if you didn't want it, you were off. They had another one for you. Who the hell wants some girl who's, some captive? You obviously want, some of these people want somebody with them who doesn't look like they're, unless they're into some weird kink we don't know about. Do you follow what I'm saying? Even the question, which is the most important, is tell me about this. Well, I've got you. Guess what? I've got you. I got pictures of you with some girl. Oh, wow. European big shots, leaders of big companies involved in extramarital affairs. Wow. Well, you got me. I'm going to turn over the keys of my kingdom. Wow. Remember that guy on the Times Square? KS, he was from the World Bank or something, and Dominique Strauss-Kahn or something like. Remember that? Anyway, these French, European, German, whatever it is, members of Bill Gates even talked about how he, girls, and what are we talking about? Listen, do me a favor, keep your flight logs. Question number 1. How many of these 250 are blackmailable? Don't tell me you've got a picture of some married guy with a girl. That's not going to do it. We're talking minors. How many? We don't even know. That's number 1. All of a sudden, Epstein's gone, dead. The files are scrubbed, and now we get this pathetic limited hangout to distract us. And the best part was, with all due respect, and I love these people, those folks who were brought to DC, here you go. Hey, look at my binder. Like this is the Watergate. Remember when Earl Warren brought the Warren Report to the White House? And he says, here it is. Ooh. You've got these folks standing up there. Look at this. They went to Kinko's and they put this in a binder and it's got this on there. The Epstein Tranche 1. What is this? Are you using me as a part of the limited hangout? Is that what you're doing? I guess QT is that question. J.E. and his co-conspirator did horrible things, implying they were, the only actors. We all know there were more, proving it's another story. Well, I not necessarily. They did terrible things. I don't know what that means. What does a terrible thing mean? Is it illegal? Is it illegal? You might think extramarital affairs is a terrible thing. I happen to think it is. But I don't think that's what we're talking about here. But let me go back to this. What do you think? First, I am going to say, I'm not going to go to Washington. And you're going to hand me this file. So I'm going to look like some jadrul standing there going, look, I got the files. Okay, now I'm not suggesting anybody did this on purpose, but come on. Please. The real names, whatever they are, weren't released. The real financial records were scrubbed. The real blackmail evidence was destroyed. And the real surveillance stuff has disappeared. Instead, we get meaningless celebrity names, washed up politicians who had already been exposed years ago, and a media narrative that makes sure the deeper questions are never asked. Does this make sense to you? Barry Taylor, ladies and gentlemen, says, Kash Patel promised to release all hidden files. Okay, he's got to be careful. Now, S.C. Mack says, trafficking of any age is illegal. You better believe it. Is that what we're talking about? Do we have women there who were there because of force, threat, or coercion? What does this mean? What does it mean? Force, threat, or coercion? Let me tell you something. If you had my limited law enforcement capabilities, the last on my list would be Epstein. There are people right now where we know of trafficking right now. And are we talking, have we just stopped talking about the borders now? If that's right? If you're right, nothing will come of any of this. Nothing's going to come of this. I'm telling you, there's nothing. This is, remember in the old days when John L. Sullivan would go, "Why you crazy?" And they wouldn't fight. They would just, that's what we're doing right now. You want to go where the trafficking is? I'll tell you where they are. We live in this city. How many beds are there in New York, honey, right now? If you're a young girl and you escape from your trafficker or escape from whatever it is, and you say, "I need help, I gotta go." How many beds in the state? 15 beds. 15 beds. And we're worrying about this bullshit? I'm sorry. You want to talk about trafficking? I'll show you trafficking. I'll show you real trafficking. Serious stuff. This is a joke. I don't even know what this is. This became a part of the fact. It was like, look over here, limited hangout. It's he's dead. And the best part is, what about her? What about her? What is she was her? She loved him. She was the person who, do you know what a stalking horse is? They had like those sheepdogs sometimes, but a stalking horse. And a stalking horse is the idea that if there's a group of animals, let's say they're eating or something, and you want to come up and you want to surprise them, what you do is you have this horse that walks in, and you're behind the horse, and the animals will say, "What's that?" "Oh, it's a horse. It's an animal, one of us." And they'll go back, and they won't look at you. And you're behind the horse, and you jump on and you shoot them or whatever it is. That's what she was. She lured them. "I'm your big sister. I'm the cool British one. I'll lure you in." Now, trafficking, remember, let us not ever overuse the point so that the word doesn't mean anything. If you are able to leave force, fraud, or coercion, we know people here, they come to New York. Woman comes from Indonesia. She wants to work in the financial area. Very, very well educated. Comes to this country. First thing they do is grab her passport, and she's off and she's doing labor or God knows what. That's trafficking. Do you ever see these people? Sometimes on West Side Highway, they're all handing out food late at night. These women, they've got babies on their backs and they're selling papaya or chocolate or whatever it is. Trafficking. Stop them. Don't tell me they're out there. Their idea of coming to this country and doing a great job is, they also do labor. They do force, fraud, or coercion. Do you believe that women who work remember the years ago with the Bunny Ranch in Vegas? Do you think that's trafficking? Might be, but really? Do you think it is? Do you think? Could be. Force, fraud, or coercion, not the psychological. Do you think OnlyFans is trafficking? They're making money. You got to be very careful with this. You don't want to cheapen the name, just like we did terrorism. And we used terrorist. He's a terrorist. Cobb says they whacked him in plain view beyond the pale. That's exactly right. That's another one. There's something about doing something right in front of you. Now, we're not allowed to ask the following questions. Why was Epstein's New York townhouse filled with surveillance cameras? Anybody? What was this about? Who knows this answer? And by the way, you can just provide this. Who really funded the Epstein operation? Where did he come from? What is this? Where is the source of his money? We are the only people who are worried about flight logs instead of saying who propped him up, who created this thing called Epstein. Who? Why were intel agencies so deeply involved with him? What happened to his personal video archives? Who would know that? Ghislaine. Are we talking to her? No, we're talking about Ethel Kennedy. I keep saying Ethel Kennedy. That to me is the funniest. What secrets about world leaders did he actually hold that were too dangerous to reveal if he held anything? These are the real questions. But the media won't touch them. And why did the media, for the longest time, protect him? Why? Because USAID and all that sort of stuff were there to promote this. So do you want to, I want to pull out the scab and go deep down and pull the next layer out and the next layer and really get involved in this. Where is Ghislaine? Offer her, say, you know what? We'll let you go right now. Talk to us. Sit there. Let me ask you a question. How did this happen? The people who orchestrated this limited hangout didn't just want to protect random billionaires. They wanted to protect the system. Epstein was the key to understanding how powerful elites are controlled and blackmailed and manipulated by intel agencies. He wasn't just some pervert billionaire. He was an intel asset running a global blackmail and extortion ring. That's what we want to do. But it's too late. I'll bet you something. It's like people who want to open up the JFK files. Good luck. And when that became too dangerous, they took him out. He just succumbed to whatever it was. Why is the media in on it? The same corporate media that pushed fake stories about Russia collusion and censored real news about Hunter Biden's laptop and how Joe Biden was okay and not senescent dotard, they're now telling you to move along. Nothing to see here. Go ahead. Move along. And all of the other people, because you're going to see MSDNC shut down, watch Rachel Maddow next. Watch Joe and Mika next, because that money's not there. That propped them up. They never made any money. They believe me, if USAID or whatever, I use that term collectively for this, but if it was still there, Joy Reid would still be there. She would. It's a new story. Doe's changed that. Those aren't journalists. Those are gatekeepers. They are co-defendants and co-conspirators. And that's why they're calling anyone who questions the Epstein files a conspiracy theorist, because it's all they know how to do. They don't know how to confront what you're doing. They don't want you to ask questions. They don't want you to connect the dots. They don't want you to realize that Epstein was not some rogue predator. He was a part of a system that, for all we know, most probably still is going on right now, designed to control the powerful through sexual blackmail. And remember this, the biggest cover-up in history, this fake Epstein reveal was never about truth. It was a limited hangout. It was designed to give people just enough information to shut them up. Protect the real power players behind the operation, and to keep the biggest secrets buried forever. That's what it was. And guess what? The American people are not buying it. I don't think they are. I hope you're not. We know Epstein's dispatch was not self-harm. We know the flight logs mean nothing compared to the missing evidence. We know this was a coordinated operation to silence a major intel asset. So where do we go from here? What do we do from now? Okay, very simple. The battle isn't over. If this pathetic document dump proved anything, it's that the truth is still being suppressed. The media want us to just forget this. And when you saw the influencers, hey, look, I've got a binder. It says, they're going to say, oh, move along. It's Friday. Let's go. What did that mean? You were duped. I'm sorry to say this, but I'll say no, I don't want. That's okay. You'll do that. Don't use my influence. This is what, by the way, this is what the CIA did years ago when they took Moby and all these other people, and they said, give us your social media. Let us use your name and your popularity to come in. That's why Rogan's very smart. Rogan says, you're not going to use me. Because the easiest thing to do when you're somebody who says, you know what, this is great. Say, hey, you know what? If you help us out, you could do pretty well. Not just endorsements. Really? Okay. Don't think, and this isn't just Trump. Don't think other people haven't gone immediately. What do you think Rob Reiner was involved? What do you think Robert De Niro really cared about Trump? Do you think Robert De Niro cares about anything about Robert De Niro? No. Do you think Barbara Streisand and Stephen King and really care this much? No. George Clooney? Oh, they offered, I don't know if they're around a George Clooney. George, how about that Tony coming up? Wouldn't you like a Tony? Yeah. Well, just do it the right way. Stick with us. Because we're in charge of everything. We're in charge of the award ceremonies. We're in charge of the bit. This was before Doge. See, the government wants us to stop asking questions, and the elites want this buried. But we won't let that happen. This is not the end of the Epstein story. It's the beginning, just the beginning. The release of these flight logs and contact lists have unveiled associations with numerous high-profile individuals across various sectors, and many of them just innocent. Former U.S. presidents, Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Do you know how many people Reagan met with? Do you know the stuff you get? You meet with people from all over the world. They've been noted in Epstein's book. So what? Clinton reportedly undertook multiple trips. Okay. Epstein, okay, fine. I think Trump said he flew a couple of times or whatever. So what? Other people did. Prince Andrew, you know about that story. Some of the Brits or some of the royals. Michael Jackson, Kevin Spacey, Chris Tucker, Alec Baldwin, Ray Fiennes, I think, Mick Jagger, Ethel Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy. Don't be thrown up. Naomi Campbell. Now, Naomi Campbell. Two people I'd love to enjoy. Three. I'd love to say, let's do a story on this one. Naomi Campbell, Oprah Winfrey, and Sean Penn. Just to get us going. I'll leave it at that. You capiche? Capido? You got it? You got where I'm going with this? Cobbs said, feds left home unsecured to obtain second warrant. When they returned, evidence was gone, but was later turned in by his lawyers. Disgraceful malfeasance. Wow. And the lawyers, if what you're saying is true, represent the client, not the government. They have to maintain the Constitution, of course, take an oath of that, but that's different. So anyway, so sit tight. That's all. And I know what you want to say. Thank God for me, right? Of course. Everybody's just going crazy. What time are you going to jump? I'll tell you what to pay attention to. I'll also tell you this much. First and foremost, to our Cobbs, thank you so much. Barry Taylor, thank yous. Ricardo, Raul Rodriguez, thank you. Karen Peterson and Sork DX3 Earth, whatever, a new member, thank you so much. Please follow Mrs. L right now today at Lynn's Warriors. This is the end of the month, and you know that. End of the month means a lot to us. She is absolutely working like you cannot believe at Lynn's Warriors. Lynn's Warriors on her YouTube channel. She does the best stuff available. She is right now. We are 86 subscribers away from 10,000. She works. You have no idea. You talk about being throttled. She has the nicest. All she wants to do is help people and children. That's it. Nothing salacious, nothing sordid. And you wouldn't believe what you got to go through. Sorry, this is no good. Say, what? I didn't say. Anyway, we need 86. I want to give my beloved wife, woman who saved my life, I want to give her 10,000. I'm 86 away. Lynn's Warriors. I just want you to go right now. Do me a favor. I feel like I'm on a telephone. I'm going to call right now. And Tobacco Candy, the number is BR549. Lynn's Warriors, ladies and gentlemen. I need your help. I want to bring her. Let me give her the best. Just 10,000. She should be 1 million by now. But you know how this thing works. Oh, and you think you're limited by virtue of stuff you say? Some algorithm is like she's trying to help people. Anyway. So Lynn's Warriors, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Make sure you also subscribe to this Lionel Nation. Because for some reason, we're finding people are getting unsubscribed. You know how this stuff goes. Listen, let me tell you something. This is the most important thing in the world. I've been talking to you for 1 hour and 10 minutes. And I guarantee you, no matter how much you may love Fox News or Harris Faulkner or whatever they talk for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and they're gone. They don't have time to spend. Because remember, those are Rupert Murdoch's people. They're as connected into the muck. Rupert Murdoch is a bigger part of the swamp than anybody. The other people will tell you, we're the enemy. But the ones who are your friends, those are the ones you got to watch out for. And Rupert Murdoch and those 2 sons of his and that family, they're not worth a damn. None of them. Did you ever watch Fox News and never learn anything? Did you ever have somebody say, did you hear that? Did you hear what they said about 9/11? Or did you hear what they said about what? Hell no. During COVID, they didn't say anything. They were as complicit. Now it's a different story. Oh, they're the worst. You'll never hear anything. You know what their memo or their motto should be? No hits, no runs, no errors. Staying in their lane. Nothing important, nothing big. Just like, oh, the president says we should maybe reveal some 9/11 files. What do you think about that, Ainsley? I don't know. I just love my troops. Okay, thank you. What about you, Harris? I don't know. I don't know about you. I mean, they're this Malugian. And by the way, have we just forgotten about the border? Do you hear about? It's closed. That's it. There's no more coming over here. Is Tom home and done? And we have this moron, this mayor of New. Anyway, don't get me started. I've had enough. 1 hour and 12 minutes. I give to you. You understand what I'm saying? All right, 81 more to get Mrs. L's 10,000. Lynn's Warriors. You go there right now on your phone. Okay, my friends. Let's make sure I've got stuff. 11 o'clock, I got a new one coming up. I got so much. There's going to be a bloodbath at MSDNC. I'm going to be talking about that. Also, George Soros is freaking out. He doesn't know what to do. With the cessation of funding to USAID, it's all over. All right, my friends. Have a great and glorious day. I sure had fun. I hope you did as well. Don't forget, always question authority. And until we meet again, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Dead.